Hello and welcome. This is News Now, reaching you live from iBrandTV News Studio in Lagos, Nigeria. Coming up, Lagos governor threatens to deport travelers who violate the COVID-19 safety protocols. Parents of pupils of Dowen College protest to demand justice over the death of Sylvester Oromoni. The African Union on Tuesday called for an urgent end to travel restrictions. More than 11,000 candles lit up for Swiss victim of the coronavirus pandemic. Thank you for joining us on the news. I am Perpetua Fasami Peter. Now the news in detail. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos has threatened to deport travelers who violate the COVID-19 safety protocols released by the Presidential Steering Committee, PSC. He stated this on Tuesday in a statement while giving an update on the management of COVID-19 in Lagos. Sanwo-Olu added that his government, in partnership with the PSC, would start prosecuting travelers who refuse to be tested, blacklist their passports for 1 year. The Lagos governor further mentioned that current guidelines on travel protocols released by the PSC must be strictly followed by passengers arriving in Nigeria. The guidelines include COVID-19 PCR test to be done within 48 hours before departure, post-arrival COVID-19 PCR test, partially and unvaccinated individuals to self-isolate for 7 days. Parents of pupils of Dowen College, Lekki, Lagos State on Wednesday stormed the school to protest the death of 12-year-old Sylvester Oromoni. They insisted that justice must prevail over the death of Oromoni, who reportedly died from injuries he sustained after being beaten by his senior colleagues. Although the school has been sealed by the Lagos State government, the management had pledged its commitment to unraveling the mystery surrounding the death of the student. Our correspondent, Agboje Korea, who visited the school, tells us more.
I am standing in front of Dowen College gates, the school where the incident was alleged to have taken place, leading to the death of the 12-year-old Sylvester. Currently, the school gate is under lock and key, as you can see. Gift items at the gate of Dowen College, Lekki, alleged to have been deposited by family members and friends of Sylvester Oromoni Jr. to mark his posthumous birthday. The very high presence of security agents around the school environment suggests that has been taken over by the police. Stickers of the Lagos State Government Office of Education Quality Assurance, Ministry of Education at both the entrance and exit gates. Some residents in the area who were saddened with the development sued for proper investigation.
I think they should come out to investigate the people involved in the incident that happened, because I heard the boy was tortured by his seniors. Yes, that was what I heard, by his seniors. So that he was tortured by them. So I think this case now should be well investigated so that they will bring justice for the boy. I really felt for him though, and I felt for his family. So I think justice should be prevailed.
The school was okay. Dowen College is almost 25 years ago. Such thing has never happened in Dowen College. Up to date, this is the first time I'm hearing about such thing. Online is a different case, different stories, different bloggers bringing out all sorts of news which is not real. To me, I heard that they are going on with some tests, which is autopsy, right? So I want they should wait. Let's see the outcome of the test. If truly such thing happened, we are going to blame the school for that.
I come today because all these things on Friday, I know where I no come. So as I come today, as all this place dry like this, I tell you, say I no happy as I see like this. Because now all of them, now them they follow me by this thing. And are they happy? Today, no see as everywhere dry, nobody, I don't see anybody. I say, God, make the boy rest in peace. As the parents lose those children, it's not easy to person to carry pikin 9 months. See as I dey struggle now because of children. And before person go come suffer and train that child, go reach that way, you know, see, it's not good.
Lagos State Police Public Relations Officer Adekule Ajeshebutu, had said that the command is investigating the incident, leaving no stone unturned. Father of the 12-year-old had insisted that his son was bullied by 5 of his schoolmates before his death. Nigerians have continued to insist that all those behind the death of the 12-year-old Sylvester Oromoni'S Jr. must be brought to book, no matter how highly placed. Igboje Warrior reporting.
The Lagos State Criminal Intelligence and Investigations Bureau, SCIIB Mantiyaba, has invited former students of Dowen College, Lekki, Lagos, for questioning over their involvement in the death of Sylvester Oromoni, the 12-year-old colleague allegedly beaten to death by some of his mates. The 4 students were invited on Tuesday to the SCIIB Manti for questioning over their purported involvement in Sylvester's death. 3 students of the college were interrogated on Monday by the police over Sylvester's death, taking the total number to 7. It was learned that the police obtained a court order to detain the arrested suspects pending when investigation into the matter is concluded. The chief coroner has fixed December 15 for a meeting on the inquest into the death of the deceased. President Muhammadu Buhari has reacted to the killing of students of Ojodu Grammar School in Lagos State. Buhari commiserated with the parents, relatives and friends of the students killed by a trailer in an accident at Isheri Road in Ojodu, Lagos State on Tuesday. In a statement by his spokesman, Femi Adesina, the president described the incident as sad and painful. President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday also swore in 2 new members of the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission RMAFC to replace 2 deceased members. The president performed a brief ceremony before the commencement of the weekly virtual Federal Executive Council FEC meeting held in the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Abdulaziz Idris King from Kogi State was sworn in to replace Suleiman Kokori Abdul, while Mohammed Sani Baba, an engineer from Bauchi State, was sworn in to replace Professor Isa Mohammed. As Nigeria joins the rest of the globe to mark International Day for the Physically Challenged, some physically challenged persons in Lagos State have called for inclusiveness of those affected in government and public activities. Igboje Warrior reports that they are calling on the government at all levels to put in place laws that will protect the rights and privileges of the physically challenged in the country.
When people are attacked, you have a lot of people become less privileged and of course handicapped like this, and they won't be able to help themselves. They become even much more responsibility to the government and to their families. So I would advise the government to pay more attention to ensure that society is secure for the people to live in.
I want to implore to the Chairman, House Committee Chairman of people suffering with disability. I feel they should come up with a very better program for these people suffering with disability and also for these homeless and helpless people in the society on how to reach out and give help to them. And come up with a program, a very sustainable program for them.
My demand for federal government is that make they put their own attention to we people with disability. See, like for education side, how do you call it? Health. We are suffering, which is not good for person with disability. If you go hospital, before they attend you, wahala. If they attend you, money where you can spend, it's not a small thing. Nothing we get, nothing we do. It's better government to look why this kind of thing is happening with people with disability.
What we need from federal government. At times, sometimes you will be hearing through radio or newspaper that government gives so amount for us. But we with disability, we doesn't see the money. So, but it has chance. This Daddy's S Home Foundation, they should help, try to help and intervene in the settle matter and talk to federal government. Because most of some things that federal government are giving her is we do not use to reach us.
A non-governmental organization known as People Helping People Foundation has called on the Nigerian government to escalate efforts towards ensuring the protection and safety of vulnerable and less privileged people in the country. Representative of the foundation, Clifford Kalu, made a call while speaking to newsmen after an outreach program in the nation's capital. He also urged the federal government to come up with sustainable programs that will create opportunities for persons living with disabilities. The Court of Appeal sitting in Ibadan on Thursday discharged former Governor of Oyo State, ALAO, AKALA, over charges of corruption preferred against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, since 2011. The former Governor, AKALA, before his discharge on Thursday, was accused by the anti-graft body of misappropriating funds to the tune of 11.5 billion naira during his term as Governor of Oyo State.
The judiciary, which is the last hope of a common man like me, as irrespective of the number of years spent on the case, I give God the glory.
This case started since 2012, roughly 11 years ago. So it comes to an end today. We first started at the High Court of Justice, Ibadan. So thanks to God that all ended well.
We want to rely on the judiciary. They are the hope for the common man like me. So we thank God for it.
Still in Oyo State, Governor Seyi Makinde has restated his commitment to making Oyo the true pace setter in education in Nigeria. The governor made this known at the salt turning of the main building of Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Senyi campus.
Well, we are working towards making Oyo State the #1 learning destination in Nigeria. To proceed with the application for conversion of LAUTECH to a conventional university. We have already released a grant of 500 million naira. So this money is to ensure the smooth takeoff of this campus.
Some individuals in the Senyi community have pledged donations of various facilities to the college, but they are only waiting for the state government to kickstart the provision of physical infrastructure in the campus.
He has been given all that is necessary in terms of subventions, full subventions. In fact, the next session we are awaiting the reduction, the implementation of a proposed induction of our tuition.
The sole ownership of Ladoke Akintola University of Technology has been very good for the university. We've been having a stable academic calendar and each free semester.
The Nigerian police force has cautioned the public against the rising trend of jungle justice involving suspects who have indulged in various crimes, describing it as inhumane, a gross violation of the victim's rights to fair hearing and utter disregard of the sanctity of human life. Oyo State Commissioner of Police Ngozi Onodeko made this appeal at the command headquarters, ALAO, Ibadan, while parading suspects arrested for various crimes in the state. Mary Leonard, the United States ambassador to Nigeria, warned the government to be careful on permitting telecommunications providers to take part in the 5G network at the 2021 International Legislative Stakeholders Conference on Digital Technology and Cybersecurity. She particularly warned against enabling untrusted providers, for it may lead to risks on national security, critical infrastructure, privacy, and human rights. Quote, this is a particularly timely issue for Nigeria as Nigeria prepares for next week's 5G spectrum auction and looks to roll out Nigeria's 5G networks after the new year, end of quote. The ambassador also reminded the government to design national measures that can mitigate significant security risks from any high-risk supplier. You're watching News Now. More stories after now. Stay with us.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services that meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah, for clean wash and quick delivery. Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. For clean wash and quick delivery.
Swift Dry Cleaners. Clean wash, quick delivery.
Glad to know you're still with us. The African Union on Tuesday called for an urgent end to travel restrictions imposed on some of its member states, saying the measures effectively penalize governments for timely data sharing in line with international health regulations. The measures act as a disincentive for information sharing in the future, potentially posing a threat to health security on the continent and globally, the AU said in a statement. Late last month, European Union states, the United States and Britain, among other nations such as Israel, imposed travel curbs on 7 southern African countries after they reported several cases of the OMICRON variant, which is considered highly infectious. Gambia's newly re-elected president Adama Barrow said on Tuesday that his government plans to draft a new constitution that would introduce presidential term limits, but fell short of saying whether he personally would seek additional mandates. Barrow comfortably won re-election on Sunday, despite challenges from some opposition candidates who initially rejected the results. Election observers have said the poll was conducted fairly. In his first news conference since the election, Barrow said that in addition to imposing term limits, a new constitution would restructure the polling process to include potential runoff polls if no candidate wins 50% of the votes. Barrow, who is 56, will officially begin his second 5-year term on January 19 after being elected with 53% of Saturday's vote under the current simple majority system. Senegalese President Macky Sall and South African President Cyril Ramaphosa have denounced the unfair representation of Africa in the United Nations Security Council, regretting that no African country is a permanent member. The Senegalese head of state said he was in favor of discussions with non-African countries with a view to reform so that Africa obtains at least 2 seats as permanent members with all the prerogatives of current permanent members. The African continent usually has 2 to 3 non-permanent seats on the Security Council, currently held by Kenya, Tunisia, and Niger. Gabon and Ghana will replace Tunisia and Niger on 1st January 2022. Moving now to foreign news, more than 11,000 candles, one for each Swiss victim of the coronavirus pandemic, lit up the December darkness outside the Swiss parliament in Bern on Tuesday. Around 40 volunteers helped light the candles arranged geometrically on the square that is Switzerland's political center. The group organized a similar event last year. Parents said the vigil was also an appeal to the government to take firmer action to contain soaring infection numbers. Switzerland has seen a sharp increase in COVID-19 cases over the last weeks. It tightened measures last week, but has been less strict than neighboring countries such as Germany or Austria. Indonesian President Joko Widodo promised on Tuesday to bolster evacuation efforts and repair damaged homes after visiting the site of a volcanic eruption on Java that has killed at least 34 people. The 3,676-meter Mount Semeru volcano erupted on Saturday, sending a cloud of ash into the sky and dangerous pyroclastic flows into villages below. Thousands of people have been displaced and 22 remain missing, according to the Disaster Mitigation Agency. After visiting evacuation centers and surveying the area by helicopter, getting an aerial view of villages submerged in molten ash, the president said recovery efforts will be bolstered now and in the months ahead. Up next is business news.
Thank you, Perpetual. Hello, welcome to Business News. I am Frank Omalape, and here are some of the reports we're filing now. The Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, has stated that international airlines will be mandated to pay $3,500 fine on each passenger flown into the country, not complying with the federal government's revised COVID-19 provisional quarantine protocol. The NCAA said non-compliance with the COVID-19 protocol requirements could also lead to the outright ban of the non-compliant airline. In a letter issued to all accountable managers and signed by the Director General of the agency, Musa Nuhu, international airlines were reminded that the protocols for international flight operations and quarantine protocols for travelers arriving in Nigeria issued earlier in July is still in effect. According to the agency, outbound passengers are to only board with evidence of full vaccination or negative COVID-19 test result. Away from there now, the Central Bank of Nigeria has on Tuesday released guidelines for its production and productivity initiative through 100 projects for every 100 days project. Information in the Apex Bank's website revealed that the initiative was designed to support the federal government's drive towards boosting productivity and economic diversification. It stated that a maximum loan of 5 billion naira per obligor will be approved under the initiative, adding that any amount about 5 billion naira will require special approval of its management. According to the Apex Bank, the facility is a long-term loan for acquisition of plant machinery as well as working capital. The CBN said the broad objective of the initiative is to reverse the nation's over-reliance on import by creating an ecosystem that targets and supports projects with the potential to transform and catalyze the productive base of the economy. Away from there now, the Nigerian Communications Commission has disclosed that the much anticipated mock auction of the 5G spectrum for qualifying telecommunications companies will hold this Friday in preparation for the main auction schedule for next Monday in Abuja. This were disclosed by the Executive Vice Chairman, Chief Executive Officer NCC Umaru Dambata at a capacity building workshop organized by the Commission in Kano on Tuesday. The Commission said Nigeria's 5G plan will allow efficient allocation of spectrum for 5G deployment and ensure its effective deployment in major urban cities by 2025. And now, California-based digital infrastructure company Equinix has acquired Nigeria's leading data center and connectivity solutions provider MainOne at the whopping $320 million. MainOne has also confirmed the acquisition, saying Equinix is now in pole position to help grow digital infrastructure investment across Africa, which has been the long-term vision of the Nigerian company. Umbrella bodies of telecom companies in Nigeria, Association of Telecom Companies of Nigeria (ADCON), and its counterparts, the Association of Licensed Telecom Operators in Nigeria (ALTON), say the development shows the Nigerian market is still attractive to foreign investors. Meanwhile, the International Monetary Fund says the rise in food prices is the major factor fueling inflation in Nigeria and other sub-Saharan African countries. According to the body, inflation is rising around the world, but because food accounts for about 40% of the sub-Saharan Africans' consumption basket, it plays a major determining role in inflation. The chart shows how food inflation across 25 countries is outpacing and contributing to the pickup in overall consumer price inflation in the region, which rose to about 18% in October 2021. And on the African scene now, the value of stocks on the Nairobi Securities Exchange dropped to a 7-month low on foreign investor sell-off of blue chip firms amid rising concerns over new coronavirus variant. Market data shows investors' paper worth decline to 89.06 shilling billion in a week through Monday, pushing the market value to levels last seen in mid-April. The Nairobi Stock Exchange market capitalization, a measure of investors' paper wealth, closed Monday on 2.47 trillion shillings, poll against nearly 2.56 trillion shillings a week earlier, which fall of 3.47%. This marked the lowest valuation of shares at the Nairobi Stock Exchange since April 15, when it stood at 2.45 trillion shillings, as the country weathered a third wave of coronavirus restrictions and shutdowns. Analysts at AIB Axis Africa said the offloading of the shares in big firms such as Safari Connectivity, KCB and AAB started weeks ago, adding that the global uncertainty over Omicron strain of COVID has hastened the fall. And on the international scene, stocks and U.S. futures rose along with Asian dollar bonds as optimism about vaccines eased concerns about the Omicron variant, and China policies help cushion against fallout from mounting property debt distress. MSCI Incorporation's Asia Pacific benchmark advanced for a second day as the onshore yuan strengthened to its strongest level since 2018. And set by Chinese authorities to limit the fallout from property market, who's lifted some risk assets in Asia, even as key debt deadlines at China Evergrande Group and Kaiser Group Holdings Limited passed without any sign of payment. Meanwhile, European futures climbed as the dollar dipped against most of its major peers. And on the oil market now, prices edge lower on Wednesday, reversing gains from earlier the week as investors try to assess the full impact of the Omicron coronavirus variant on global fuel demand and the effectiveness of existing vaccines. Brent crude futures dropped 25 cents to $75.19 a barrel after settling 3.2% higher on Tuesday. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was at $71.86 a barrel, down 19 cents, having gained 3.7% in the previous session. Now, oil prices rebounded earlier this week from a collapse last week on rising optimism that the new Omicron variant will not cause major economic damage. But analysts say investors are still not fully optimistic and are taking a wait-and-see approach until they learn about Omicron's full impact on the market. Well, and it's a wrap now. Many thanks for watching. I am Frank Omalape. Now back to Perpetual for the rest of the news now.
Thank you, Frank. Coming up next is entertainment news.
Hello and welcome to Entertainment News. I am Michelle Abanum. American basketballer Tristan Thompson has accused his latest baby mama, Mara Lee Nichols, of trying to gain fame with a lawsuit she recently filed. The former boyfriend of reality TV star Khloe Kardashian also revealed that Nichols' decision to share the details of their conversations on Snapchat was a move to smear his name. Thompson also accused the trainer of alerting the media about their relationship and the pregnancy. It will be recalled that Nichols filed for child support from the rich NBA star before giving birth to the child. Next, Nigerian veteran actor Richard Mofe-Damijo has expressed gratitude to his Ghanaian fans for an award bestowed him. The movie star was recently awarded a Black Star Honor Award at the just concluded Rhymes on the Runway in the Gold Coast Awards. Celebrating the win, RMD shared photos of himself at the event ceremony with the caption, "Thank you, Ghana." RMD's win comes amid a very successful year with features in major titles including the much-anticipated Kemi Adetiba-directed King of Boys limited series. He also featured in the second season of Ebony Life Studios' Castle and Castle, AY's Christmas in Miami, and some yet-to-be-released titles shot this year. And that's it on Entertainment News. It's now back to you, Perpetual.
And now we'll move to sports news.
On sports update at this hour, England's Ashes campaign began in an embarrassing fashion as the tourists were skittled for just 147 by Australia on the opening day of the series at the Gabba. In a moment of instant Ashes infamy, Rory Burns was bowled by Mitchell Starc from the very first delivery of the series, immediately sapping English optimism in Brisbane. With skipper Joe Root falling for naught, England were 11-3, having opted to bat on a green-tinged pitch, offering assistance to the pace bowlers. Australia's attack was relentless, led by Pat Cummins, who claimed 538 on his first day as captain. Jos Buttler mounted an England counter-attack of some sorts with 39, sharing a stand of 52 with Oli Pope, who made 35. Asib Ahmed with a watchful 25 and Chris Works, who made 21, were the only other batters to reach double figures. And still talking sports update, Portland Trail Blazers have announced guard CJ McCollum has been diagnosed with a collapsed right lung and will be sidelined indefinitely. McCollum was injured in the final quarter of the Blazers' 145-117 loss to the Boston Celtics on Saturday. It was listed as probable with a rib contusion for Monday night's game against the LA Clippers, but did not play in the 102-90 loss. McCollum's injury is one of several to befall the struggling Blazers, as all-star Damian Lillard has missed 4 games with lower abdominal tendinopathy, while backup point guard Afeni Simmons is out with a right ankle sprain, and forward Nasir Little has missed 4 games with a left ankle sprain. McCollum is averaging 20.5 points, 4.1 rebounds and 4.5 assists this season. And that's it on Sports Updates. I'm Samson Oleide.
And that's all the news now this hour. Thank you for watching. I am Perpetua Fasami Peter. To enjoy the rest of the day. Bye for now.